Then I have to mention the issue because I know it has been with us for many years, but global warming will not go away. It will stay, and its implications will be felt in ever more severe ways. It's undeniable one of the biggest global sustainability challenges the world has ever faced. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon calls it the biggest challenge of all. And I think all enlightened leaders, responsible leaders, public or private, must realize that we have to go for a carbon price, and rather sooner than later. Not doing so would basically mean we continue to outsource externalities and we claim we have no responsibility for the planet as a whole. This is something which will not be easily tackled, and there will be many, many tensions around it, but clearly the end game has to be clear, and the sooner the voices of wisdom kick in and help to build consensus around it, obviously the less damage will be done for the great majority. Another big trend, I dare say, and that is not on the light side, but rather on the gray side, is that as the old world order of post-World War II and the consensus that was built on a rule-based approach to integration is now running the risk of being eroded, not by design or intention, but almost by default. And we see it around trade, we see it around foreign direct investment treaties, which are proliferating at the bilateral level, where the collective multilateral good is increasingly an afterthought. There are in some countries dangerous tendencies of inward orientation, nationalism, and beggar thy neighbor concepts. These are the big threats out of history. We should have learned never to repeat again such mistakes. But clearly, I sometimes it's very painful to see how the support for multilateralism is seemingly shrinking away in front of our eyes, despite the fact that the world is ever more interdependent, and growing interdependence puts a premium on cooperation. This fundamental trivial insight, unfortunately, seems not to match with reality, where on the one hand, the world is ever more interdependent, and we all depend on each other ever more, technology, trade, ideas, and so forth. But on the other hand, the supportive infrastructure that allows us all to live peacefully and prosperous together and to ensure that solid business market-based approaches with fair competition, a race to the top is secured, we seem to not make the necessary investment in that area. And I'm saying this as somebody who has been with the United Nations now for 20 years. It's painful, it's hurtful to observe this. I hope that we can rekindle multilateralism at its core, and forums such as this, Council on Foreign Relations, obviously plays a key role in this. The fact of life is all human beings are equally born in terms of their rights, in terms of their aspirations. We are increasingly interdependent in terms of resources, in terms of ideas, and we better improve our way how we understand and collaborate. There is no choice around it if we are to avoid the big mistakes of history that humanity, unfortunately, seems to be going through every other decades or so.